Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord, we got Josh.
Hey,
A bit of a triple header this weekend. WWE Evolution, Saturday night's main event, and NXT Great American Bash all on this weekend. So we're going to try and get through all of that content to take a look ahead at the shows this weekend. First up, though, WWE Evolution, the second all-female pay-per-view or premium live event. Where to start? Let's go with the first match that was announced for it. NXT Women's Championship, Jacy Jayne defending against Jordynne Grace.
this this feels like it has to be Jordan Grace's moment. Almost. There's still like some crazy feeling in the back of my mind that they may still put Jacy Jayne over. And if Jacy Jayne wins, it's not going to be clean. Not by a mile. But yeah, it just feels like this is Grace's moment.
Yeah, I think looking over at Great American Bash is obviously a tag match with Fatal Influence taking on Grace and Blake Monroe. That NXT Women's Championship within the month is going to be in the hands of either Grace or Monroe. I don't know what order or, right now Blake is here as a face. We've seen her work as a heel quite a lot, as Mariah May previously. So maybe she could end up screwing over Grace, as you say, in a non-clean way, and Jacy gets to hold on to the title for a little bit more, or maybe that betrayal comes afterwards. But these are the two newer stars that are getting catapulted straight up to the top of the card, and some combination of them is definitely going to be champion. I agree. I think it was a couple of weeks ago we said if Jordynne Grace doesn't win here, you do have to consider whether a main roster call-up is in her future. We saw Roxanne, Julia, Stephanie all head up, who were in that sort of four-way feud. And maybe they want to give Grace a little bit more time down here. Maybe they want to work a program with Jane or with Monroe. But there's still, I think, a little bit more meat on the bone when it comes to the current combination of girls at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the Juggernaut will be able to cancel out the group here, because I think that's just how strong they have made her look, as well as the fact that that's just how strong she is.
Yeah.
So it's like, if honestly you threw out something I wasn't even thinking about, because I was just thinking about the fact that Fatal Influence would be involved in the match.
Mm-hmm.
But and as you said, we've seen Mariah May, the now Blake Monroe, as a heel, but I think they're trying to work with her as a face. She just doesn't. I don't think she gets it yet, but that's why she's in NXT, to learn the things that they don't teach you in the other company.
Yeah, it's good to be able to pull off both sides of the coin, I think, as well.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a while before they decide to make her a heel, like a couple months or something. I don't think it'd be something that would happen at Evolution or in the next month or so. Because I could see maybe like Blake winning like a number one contendership match a couple months down the road. And that's where you flip the switch if you want to make her a heel. But yeah, I think their money right now is in Grace winning the title and feuding with all the women that are in the top echelon of the current NXT Women's division, plus anybody from the Impact Wrestling women knockouts.
Yeah, that's what I also want to mention, because whoever comes out on top here is going to head to TNA Slammiversary July 20th, the next weekend, and take on Marsha Slamovich for a title versus title winner-takes-all match. So I think Grace versus Slamovich makes a little bit more sense than Jane versus Slamovich as well.
Yeah, but because of that match, that is a reason to keep the title on Jane, so that, because then you're not doing potentially two changes of the title within 2 weeks.
True.
If you decide that you want to do having Slamovich win the title, first title match.
Yeah,
So
you can have
that,
Slamovich win and then Grace chase from with her. Makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I think honestly, I think it's probably more likely that JC Jane wins with with that match upcoming,
Mm.
because I think they're going to want to do. They have an NXT title wrestler with the TNA championship right now. I think they're going to want to reverse that and have a NXT title with the TNA champion. So, and as I said, if you do have Grace win here, you've got to have her have a lengthy reign, at least a couple months. So you can't have her immediately lose it in a week. I just talked myself into picking JC Jane.
There we go. JC Jane by some nefarious means. I'm going to move us on. We've also got a no-holds-barred match, Jade Cargill versus Miss Money in the Bank Naomi. Long time brewing for these two.
And still doesn't feel like it'll be the end. Yeah, I think, honestly, I think Naomi wins by nefarious means.
We can't end all the matches like that.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I think she could knock Jade Cargill out with the briefcase.
That's fair.
It would set them up as 1-1 because Jade did win the first match. And then when Naomi becomes champion, then you could have the rubber match at SummerSlam. Because I have a feeling Naomi is walking out of this pay-per-view with the women's championship.
And that spins us straight into that women's championship match. Tiffany Stratton walking in as champion, going up against Trish Stratus.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it'll be a retention for Tiffany Stratton. But yeah, I just laid out what I think will happen. I think it'll be a tough match for Stratton just because I think they're going to want to like really show off that Trish can still go if she wanted to. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll be to weaken Stratton to the point where she can be cashed in on, and Naomi will come. Honestly, now that I think about it, they'll probably just Seth Rollins it. They'll probably start the show off with Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Jade will win, and then Naomi will cash in towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Naomi is, at the end of the day, will be the WWE Women's Champion.
Well, who do you think will be the Women's World Champion? Because Io Sky may come into it as champion, but I don't think she's the favorite up against Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I'd like to see Io retained, but I'm not sure she even has a Dolph Ziggler chance in this match. I think, honestly, it'll be Rhea will win, and then insert whoever wins that battle royal, which we don't even know who's in it fully, will challenge Rhea for the title at Clash in Paris.
You're doing all my segues for me. We have a battle royal with the winner getting a world championship match at Clash in Paris. So far announced: Ivy Nile, Stephanie Vickers, Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Natalia, Maxine Dupree, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Lash Legend, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley, Zelina Vega, and Julia. Pretty much, if you are a woman who is not injured and not on this card, you're going to find yourself in that battle royal.
Yep. As well as any potential legend that might come in to play. So yeah, it's one of those things. So this feels like, honestly, this entire pay-per-view like got turned on its head when Liv Morgan got hurt.
Yeah.
So I honestly think it probably would have been Io Sky versus Liv Morgan in that one. And I think they would still have been defending their titles. So I think Liv Morgan would have done double duty. So with that said, I'm going to throw a wrench out there. I think Raquel Rodriguez wins.
Okay.
Just because because we don't know who's actually in the match fully.
Mm-hmm.
And out of everybody you named, the only one I'd really want to see win the match would be Stephanie. But I don't think she's ready. Yeah, I don't think she's ready for that.
I don't care if she's ready. I'm having Stephanie win this. We're going to have Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vickers, Clash in Paris. It's going to be amazing, and we're all going to love it. That's what's happening. I've booked it. I've decided it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
It doesn't spell great things for Sky, though, on the way. We've also got the Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line. We saw this one coming from a million miles away. Champion Becky Lynch defending against Bayley and against Lyra Valkyria.
This should be the main event, by the way. I think this has the potential to be like, if not the greatest women's triple threat match of all time, which there have been some really good ones especially in the with the Four Horsewomen.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could potentially become the greatest. I mean, the talent's there. We already know Becky is Becky. Bayley is beyond amazing, and Lyra's really good. So the chances are there. I hope they hit a home run. It just depends on, as we say with like most multi-person matches, chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry and story. That'll be important. I don't see Lyra retaining the title here. So it's between the two veterans for me. And I don't think it makes much sense to switch it to Bayley, but since it's the one thing Bayley has not done in this company, because for a mid-card title,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Bayley wins, just because I don't really know from this match.
Yeah, I think it all depends on what story they want to tell going forward from here. Becky Lynch is obviously coming back, having a great run. Bayley got screwed out of a WrestleMania shot, sort of that underdog face kind of role. Lyra Valkyria didn't have that dog in her and has seemingly found it. She has merged the bird and the dog and has gotten a little bit more vicious. So if she didn't just have the title, then I would be putting my money on Lyra. But yeah, as you say, just having it, like losing it for a little bit, picking it back up, I don't see them wanting to juggle it back to her. And so, yeah, probably Becky Lynch retention most likely will give a bit more options going forward in what they want to do. You can spin off a Bayley versus Lyra feud if you do want to turn Lyra into a more vicious person. There's a bit more there you can do.
Yeah. We've used what you said about Lyra and her winning the title back. We said that last year when Sammy won the Intercontinental title from Braun Breaker, only to lose it within a month of the time frame of actually winning it. So it is not outside the realm of possibility. And Lyra winning the title back from Becky would make her a massive star.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is part of what I think they're actually wanting to do, is eventually have Lyra conquer either Bayley or Becky and win the title back.
Makes sense. Well, we'll see how that spins. The last match on the Evolution card before our entrance theme. Women's Tag Team Championship is on the line. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez subbing in for Liv Morgan, taking on Raw's Kabuki Warriors, SmackDown's Charlotte and Bliss, and NXT's Zarya and Sol Ruka.
I don't care about these titles, but I will say this. Watching Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss the last couple of weeks makes me care about them. And their seemingly story that's going on right now with Charlotte Flair seemingly like, oh, I like this person. Oh, I'm not supposed to like this person. Kind of, I think they're trying to develop like a new type of character for Charlotte. Yeah. And I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss win the titles.
Yeah, I think out of these options, they make the most sense. Sol Ruka and Zarya obviously telling their story down on NXT. Kabuki Warriors just come back together, and there might be something more there for Asuka. And so Flair and Bliss make sense. It means that Roxanne Perez loses the titles that she subbed in for, and Liv can be mad when she gets back, or Raquel can get mad that, the sub wasn't as good as Liv. There's a whole lot of story there. With those two losing them, and as you say, I kind of want to see what Flair and Bliss do.
Yeah, they could end up being like the modern version of Team Hell No.
Yeah.
and just be two completely different personalities and see how they work together. So far, I've enjoyed what I've seen. I do want to see more, but at the same time, it's with these titles that I really don't care about.
Well, maybe they can try their best to make you care about it, but we'll have to see this weekend. It is time to go into our entrance theme this week, which is Julia's theme. Back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh, flicking over to Saturday night's main event, also taking place this weekend. We got 3 matches announced at time of recording. First up, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre.
This was a match that has like branching, like there's so many things that they can go off of just from the promo they did on SmackDown with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
So there's a way like spawning thing. I think Drew wins, but I don't know. But there's just so many question marks that promo like brought up, that I don't think that this is just the beginning of a massive like difference between these people.
Yeah, this one's a pretty tight match. I could see it going either way. I'm with you. I think Drew McIntyre getting a little bit more momentum behind him makes a whole lot of sense here. But yeah, there's so many. The more like factors and variables and intertwining stories you add into it, the harder it gets to predict. I'm not going to be mad if Randy Orton comes out, but if it's a tight match and my boy Drew is in it, I gotta pick Drew. Those are just the rules.
Unless Sheamus is on the other side.
That's true. Sheamus outranks Drew. But then you got another singles match where it is Seth Rollins and it is LA Knight. We're still intertwining, but they're going head to head as well.
Yeah. I think this is where I think Seth and his group, I think, potentially start to have issues. Again, this is rumor territory and anything can change. But I am beginning to start to hear rumors of Braun turning on Seth at some point.
He's been in the group for like 2 months.
Yeah, and feuding with him. And as a way to like launch Braun into the top of the card. Which honestly, we said at the beginning of this whole thing that that's probably where they were going to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Especially once they added Bronson Reed. Once they added Bronson Reed, that made Braun Breaker's role completely pointless because Bronson Reed served that role. So I could see like there being a potential like Braun accidentally costing Seth Rollins this match. Like he goes to spear LA Knight while the referee is down, misses and hits Seth, and LA Knight then hits his finisher and secures a pin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going like 60-40 LA Knight on this match.
Well, I'm gonna flip that. I'm gonna go 60-40 Seth Rollins. I think LA Knight's actually had a whole lot of momentum behind him and a whole lot of fan reaction behind him, and that's why I'm giving him 40. But I guess I also got to think at the person who's holding the briefcase often isn't actually picking up wins and will lose quite a lot, so maybe that's something to knock against Seth Rollins, but he's just one of those guys that I can't bet against. You know, he's got Paul Heyman, he's got Braun, he's got Bronson. There's just so many tally marks in the Seth Rollins column that I feel like I can't bet against the guy. And then lastly, Goldberg's retirement match, World Heavyweight title on the line, Gunther versus Goldberg.
This will be about a 3 to 4 minute match. Goldberg will hit a spear on Gunther. Gunther will kick out at 1. And then he will hit a powerbomb on Goldberg and win the match. And Atlanta fans will leave it crying.
Yeah, I don't want this to be long. I guess if anybody can drag Goldberg at whatever age he is now, let me see how fast I can load this up. At 58 through, 10 minutes maximum, then it's going to be Gunther, but it's going to be a whole lot of stalling on the outside. People have talked about him winning the match and retiring with the title, but that does nobody anything. This is a guy who is 58, is retiring after this match. This is not a case of, if I don't win the title, I'll retire. It would make Gunther look bad, and then it makes the title look bad because you've just vacated it from a 60-year-old dude. So, hey, and I hope they can put a spectacle on, and it's not, an absolute dumpster fire.
There's also another problem with you mentioning that him walking away with the title. Mm-hmm. That's the whole storyline behind John Cena right now.
True.
Him walking away with the title. It kind of would invalidate that whole thing.
There you go. Even more reason to not do it. Not that I needed it. Well, then let's jump over Great American Bash. We got 5 matches from NXT, and we got about 5 minutes left. We already talked to Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe going up against Fatal Influence. I think this could potentially tell us how the weekend for the title itself is going to go, right? If Grace wins here, I'm not going to love her hopes. If JC Jane wins here, I'm not going to love her hopes on the next day.
Yeah. And I think the face win here, which sets up Jane retention, only to lose it to Marsha Slamovich the next week. So
yeah, love it. I agree with it. We got a singles match: Javon Evans taking on Jasper Troy. He, the winner of WWE LFG.
I like Evans. I like Evans a lot, but I think they're trying to build Troy, and so I think he destroys Javon Evans here.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to show what could happen with a LFG winner. Obviously, he already had a title shot against Femi, and yeah, is trying to be positioned as the next big deal. Javon Evans, as that sort of underdog character, can take a loss and bounce back a billion times. I would rather Javon, be further up the card here, but it does feel like his position is to elevate Jasper as he moves through NXT after LFG. We've also got NXT North American Championship on the line. Ethan Page, Ricky Saints once again, but this time falls will count anywhere.
Yep, Ricky had to win a gauntlet match to be able to choose his stipulation. That's the stipulation he chose. So I guess he's just going to beat Ethan Page from one end of the arena to the other, and maybe we'll get a concession stand. Maybe we'll get a bathroom fight. Probably not on either one of those. But we'll definitely get in the crowd because that's one place they always go. Is the crowd. I think Ricky wins. I think he gets his title back here, and I think this was the whole reason of Ethan winning the title in the first place.
Fair enough. We got the NXT Women's North American Championship on the line. Sol Ruka with Zarya by her side going up against Izzy Dame with Tatum Paxley by her side, ahead of Ruka and Zarya's tag team match at Evolution.
Yeah, I think Izzy Dame wins the title here. I think we've had many accidents and stuff the last few weeks between Zarya and Sol Ruka. This is going to be another issue that's going to explode at Evolution. Mm-hmm. It's going to lead into a feud between Zarya and Sol Ruka starting on NXT after Evolution. So I think Izzy Dame wins the title and then celebrates with Tatum Paxley, who finally found a friend that doesn't want to not be her friend.
Yeah. Nothing to add. I agree 100% with what you've said. And NXT Championship, Oba Femi, we've been saying, who's going to be built to beat him? I don't think it's Yoshiki Inamura.
I'll give him a 5% chance, just because there's a possibility of them just wanting to shock people. But yeah, Oba Femi is like the guy. And until you can show that you're the guy ready to take over for it, it's going to be hard to believe that Oma's going to lose.
Yeah,
I
he
still
hasn't
want it to
had
be
a
I still want it to be Javon Evans, but I don't think that's going to happen.
yeah. I've yet to see him have a convincing challenger for a little while now. I think he just stands like, head and shoulders above the rest, and we're going to build someone up there eventually. Well, that is all there is time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
Visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up, and we will catch you next week.